Environment is not limited to people alone. The places and situations around us also affect our mindset. A clean, organized, and peaceful environment often helps people think clearly and stay productive. In contrast, chaotic or unhealthy surroundings can increase stress and distraction. Even digital environments matter today. Social media, videos, and online content influence thoughts more than many people realize. Constant exposure to negativity, comparison, and unrealistic standards can damage mental health and self-esteem. This is why people must carefully choose what they allow into their minds. Another important truth is that environment can either support dreams or destroy them. A person trying to build discipline and improve themselves will struggle if surrounded by constant distractions and discouragement. For example, someone who wants to study seriously may find it difficult if their environment encourages laziness or wasting time. However, being in a positive environment filled with focused and ambitious people creates motivation and accountability. Growth becomes easier when the atmosphere around you supports your goals. At the same time, people should remember that while environment is powerful, it does not completely control destiny. Some individuals rise above difficult surroundings and create successful lives through determination and self-belief. However, even these people often succeed by intentionally creating a better environment for themselves over time. They seek mentors, positive friendships, educational opportunities, and healthier influences that help them grow. Identity is shaped gradually through repeated exposure to surroundings. The language people hear, the habits they observe, and the energy they experience every day slowly become part of who they are. This is why protecting your environment is protecting your future. People must choose carefully who they listen to, who they spend time with, and what influences they allow into their lives. In the end, environment is like soil for a plant. A healthy environment helps people grow stronger, wiser, and more confident, while a toxic environment limits potential and weakens progress. Therefore, if someone truly wants to improve themselves, they must build an environment that supports growth, positivity, discipline, and purpose. Because the people and surroundings around us often shape the person we eventually become. Failure is something most people fear, avoid, and sometimes even feel ashamed of. In today's world, many people only show their achievements, victories, and perfect moments, making failure appear like weakness. However, the truth is very different. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is an important part of success. Every person who has achieved greatness has experienced setbacks, mistakes, rejection, and disappointment. What separates successful people from others is not the absence of failure, but the ability to learn from it and continue moving forward. Many people give up too quickly because they think failure means they are not talented, intelligent, or capable enough. A student who fails an exam may believe they are not smart. A person rejected from a job may think they are worthless. An athlete who loses a competition may begin doubting themselves. But failure does not define a person's value or potential. It simply reveals areas that need improvement. In fact, failure often teaches lessons that success never could. One of the greatest benefits of failure is that it builds strength and resilience. Life is not always easy, and challenges are unavoidable. People who never face difficulties may struggle when real problems appear. Failure teaches patience, emotional control, and perseverance. Every setback forces individuals to become mentally stronger and more determined. Over time, these experiences develop confidence because people realize they can survive difficult moments and continue trying again. Failure also helps people discover their weaknesses. Success can sometimes make people comfortable, but failure exposes mistakes and areas that need growth. For example, someone who fails an exam may realize they need better study habits and time management. A business owner whose company struggles may learn important lessons about leadership and decision-making. Without failure, many people would never recognize the changes necessary for improvement. Failure acts like a teacher, showing people what needs to be corrected. Another important lesson failure teaches is humility. When people experience success too easily, they may become arrogant or careless. Failure reminds individuals that growth requires effort, learning, and discipline. It teaches people to stay grounded and continue improving themselves rather than becoming overconfident. Humility allows people to accept feedback, learn from criticism, and remain open to change. Some of the most successful individuals in history experienced major failures before achieving greatness. Walt Disney was once told he lacked creativity. Albert Einstein struggled academically during parts of his early education. Oprah Winfrey faced rejection and hardship before becoming one of the most influential women in the world. Their stories prove that failure does not end dreams unless people allow it to. Fear of failure often prevents people from taking risks and chasing opportunities. Many individuals remain trapped in comfort zones because they are afraid of making mistakes or being judged by others. However, growth only happens when people are willing to step into uncertainty. A person who never fails is usually a person who never tries anything challenging. Mistakes are evidence that someone is learning, growing, and pushing beyond limits. It is also important to understand that failure is temporary. One failure does not mean permanent defeat. A bad moment, a rejection, or a setback does not determine someone's future. What truly matters is how a person responds after falling down. Successful people are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to stay defeated. They continue learning, adjusting, and moving forward despite difficulties. In the end, failure should not be seen as something negative or shameful. It is a natural part of growth and improvement. Every mistake carries a lesson, every setback builds strength, and every challenge creates an opportunity to become wiser and stronger. When people stop fearing failure and start learning from it, they unlock the ability to grow beyond their limitations and achieve things they once thought were impossible. True success is not achieved through temporary effort or occasional motivation. Real transformation happens when growth becomes part of a person's identity. Many people try to improve themselves for a short period of time. They may work hard for a few weeks, follow positive habits for a month, or feel inspired after hearing motivational advice. But when challenges appear, they often return to old patterns. This happens because improvement has not yet become part of who they are. Lasting change occurs when growth is no longer something a person tries to do occasionally, but something they naturally live every day. Identity is powerful because human beings naturally act according to who they believe they are. For example, a person who sees themselves as lazy will continue making excuses and avoiding responsibility. Someone who believes they are weak may avoid challenges and difficult situations. On the other hand, a person who identifies as disciplined, hardworking, and focused will naturally behave in ways that match that identity. This is why changing actions alone is not enough. People must also change the way they see themselves. Making growth your identity means developing a mindset where learning, improving, and becoming better are lifelong priorities. It means understanding that no matter how successful someone becomes, there is always room for growth. A person with this mindset does not become comfortable with mediocrity. They constantly seek knowledge, improve skills, strengthen character, and work on their weaknesses. They understand that personal development is not a destination, but a continuous journey. One important part of making growth your identity is consistency. Growth does not happen through one big action. It happens through small daily decisions repeated over time. Reading regularly, practicing discipline, learning from mistakes, staying healthy, controlling emotions, and working hard every day slowly shape a person's identity. At first, these actions may require effort, but over time they become habits, and eventually they become part of who someone is. Another key aspect of growth is having the willingness to adapt and change. Life constantly changes, and people who refuse to grow often remain stuck in the same place mentally, emotionally, and professionally. A growth-oriented person does not fear change because they see challenges as opportunities to learn. They are open to feedback, willing to admit mistakes, and eager to improve themselves. Instead of being offended by criticism, they use it as a tool for development. Making growth your identity also means understanding that setbacks are not failures but lessons. People who focus on growth do not allow difficulties to destroy their confidence. Instead, they ask themselves, what can I learn from this experience? They see every challenge as a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This mindset helps them continue moving forward even during difficult times. Another powerful result of making growth your identity is self-confidence. Confidence does not come only from praise or external success. Real confidence comes from knowing that you are improving yourself every day. When people consistently work on themselves, they begin trusting their abilities more. They know they can handle difficulties because they are constantly becoming stronger mentally and emotionally. Many successful people became extraordinary because they dedicated their lives to continuous growth. Elon Musk is known for constantly learning and pushing himself into new industries. Serena Williams continued improving her skills even after becoming one of the greatest athletes in history. Their achievements were not based only on talent, but on a commitment to lifelong growth. In the end, making growth your identity changes every part of life. It changes the way people think, act, and respond to challenges. Instead of fearing change, they embrace it. Instead of staying comfortable, they push themselves forward. Growth becomes more than a goal, it becomes a lifestyle. And when improvement becomes part of a person's identity, success is no longer something they chase. It naturally becomes part of who they are.